Ever find that your kids don't listen to you? End up getting more frustrated with them? Let's dive deep and see how you can change all this. Hey everybody, this is John. So, how to be a better parent? To clarify, I'm not saying I'm an expert in this, and I am not saying this video will change your child, because there is no one size fits all solution. Each parent is different, and each child is unique. So this video is to give you a tool or something to help you resolve the challenges you have with your kids. To have a better chance at this, there are two areas we need to look at first. You as the parent, and then your child. Let's begin with you as the parent. So let me briefly share the 4 parenting type quadrant. Authoritarian parents. They are the type that don't allow their kids to get involved in any problem-solving challenges or obstacles. Instead, they make the rules and enforce the consequences with little regard for the kid's opinion. They may also use punishments instead of discipline. So rather than teaching a child how to make better choices, they are invested in making the kids feel sorry for their mistakes. Authoritative parents have rules and they use consequences, but they also take their children's opinions into account. They validate their feelings while also making it clear that ultimately the adults are the one in charge. They invest time and energy into preventing behavior problems before they start. They also use positive discipline strategies to reinforce good behavior, like praising and reward systems. Permissive parents are quite forgiving, and they adopt an attitude of kids will always be kids. When they do use consequences, they may not make those consequences stick. They might get privileges back if the child begs, or they allow a child to get out of time earlier if he promises to be good. Permissive parents usually take on more of a friend role than a parent's role. They often encourage their children to talk with them about their problems, but they don't put much effort into discouraging poor choices or bad behavior. Uninvolved parents. They usually have few rules, and the children do not receive much guidance, nurturing, or attention from the parents. They expect the children to raise themselves. They don't devote much time or energy into meeting the children's basic needs. Uninvolved parents may be neglectful, but it's not always intentional. Uninvolved parents simply just lack the knowledge about child development, and sometimes they simply overwhelmed with other problems like work, paying the bills, managing household and stuff. I know what you're thinking. 1 or 2 of the parenting styles are very bad. To me, it is yes and no. Each parenting style has their own highlights and pitfalls. Of course, it can be said authoritative style is the best of all 4. But then again, not every parent know how to do this and all the time. And it might not be useful in certain situations. What I'm saying is, parenting is very dynamic. Parents grow in their style as their children grow. So what works when the child is 3 years old doesn't necessarily mean it will work when the child is 13 or 33. Okay, let me add another variable to this entire equation. Who you are besides being a parent. As a person, what do you focus your time on each day? Work? Household chores? Video games? Stocks? How do you communicate with your spouse or with other people? What is your temperament? Now you have a better understanding of yourself. This impacts how you interact with a child. Next, your child. Okay, I know what comes to your mind when your child appears. All sorts of color appear as well, right? So there's a good chance there is red color. Red is usually associated with anger, right? Okay, anyway, how well do you know your child? Let's start with a simple assessment. Is your child an introvert or extrovert by nature? So how do you tell? Okay, very simple. Does your child stay at home all the time, or your child is always with a group of friends? They behave very differently at different age. I simplify this into 3 basic stages. Before puberty, they are learning and observing, especially from parents. So what you do, how you behave, and what you preach have a huge impact on them. During puberty, they are exploring and discovering new things. They will challenge your authority because their world is expanding. They will also start to learn more from outside, whether it's friends, internet, popular idols, trending stuff, whatever. Adulthood, they gain their freedom from you, mostly. This is the time they start to make their own decisions, with or without you. Now you have a better picture of children growing up. If you're still clueless, have a look at yourself. Just ask yourself how you experience growing up. Have you ever been asked by your child, Daddy, Mommy, when do you have time to play with me? Or, Dad, Mom, you don't understand me. This is their way of telling you they are willing to be engaged, but you don't have the right key to enter that door. Normally, parents will get frustrated because their answers are not what the children want. Some parents will get another person to help solve their problems with their children, most of the time to fix the children. Okay, I can tell you it won't work. It will not succeed. The only success you will find is a child staying further away from you. So, it is actually the connection between the children and the parent that needs to be fixed. Before I go further, there is a question you need to keep in mind. Which is more important to you? You being right or your relationship with your child? Granted, you as parents are very busy, whether it's with work, household chores, maybe managing several kids or employees, stressing over KPIs or your child's grades. There's so many things you have to deal with, so you have the right to be frustrated. But again, which is more important to you? You being right or your relationship with your child? Albert Einstein once said, insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. So if you continue to react to your child the same way as you always have and hope your child will react differently, you are insane. Now, here is something you should know. There is little to no way you can control your child. If you happen to say you can, there is a good chance your child will turn out rebellious or just biding his or her time to be away from you in the future. So what you can control is your own actions. You can do something about it, and it starts with you. So, what can you do? Start by listening to them slowly. Know what's in their world. What is their current lingo? What makes them excited and why? Then enter their world and engage them. Do not judge them. Once you do, they will shut off. Show them respect as well. Okay, in my last video, I talked about basic needs, referencing choice theory, reality therapy. In any child's world, their needs are more of social acceptance or being cool, finding out more about themselves, having fun, and learning new things. So to them, they are experimenting and learning. Though to us, we have been there and we know the rights and wrongs in it, or what works and what doesn't. Here's the thing, rather than telling them straight, let them try it out and you be there for them. If it's things that are obviously wrong, like drugs, stealing, or even bullying, you have to step in. Some things are a straightforward no. As I mentioned, parenting is dynamic, and what is important is letting them know that whatever happens, you are always there for them. Here's another thing, spend more time with them. Yes, it may be difficult because we are all busy, but remember, we can always dig out time for children. Remember the question? Which is more important to you? You being right or your relationship with your child? With the current COVID-19 pandemic, and if you are staying at home from work, this is your chance to make all of this happen. No, not duct taping your kids when you are working from home. I'm talking about spending more time with them. Play together, have fun. If you need to invest in a Nintendo Switch to do that, by all means go ahead. Kids before puberty tend to ask a lot of questions and want to enter your world. This is actually the best chance for you to make a lasting, positive impact in their lives by engaging them. One tip though, you and your spouse must be on the same page when answering them, whether it's teaching them or disciplining them. Having divided opinions will only confuse your kids. For kids during puberty, they are more confused than they want you to see. This is where I am reversing back a bit and talk more about this word, judging. The last thing any kid wants is to be judged. So, How to not judge. When your child gives an answer that seems to put a red flag, instead of a usual judgment, ask them, why is this interesting? Or tell me more about this. Your aim or purpose is to ask open-ended questions so they don't give you one-word answers. If they want to experiment something bad and you know it's a no-no, you have to calmly tell them your point. Share with them your experience if you have done this before. Example, kids think stealing is cool. You tell them it is not. You explain that the thing you steal may be something important to that person, and if that person do not have it, it will cause further damage. Or worse, if you are caught stealing, you either get to a juvenile center, counseling, or have a record. You lose more freedom. How about adult children, or rather adults? You think you expect them to be well-behaved and independent after 20 years of parenting. That's where you shortchange yourself. They are still learning. And it's much harsher now that they are in the real world. We all are in it. They will need all the encouragement they can get to survive in this world. All of what I shared so far in how to be a better parent is not easy, but it starts with you. And a lot of patience is definitely needed. But if you persevere in making changes, you will see results. If you happen to fall back to your old style of parenting and you see some damages, don't beat yourself up. We all make mistakes. No one is perfect. Just pick ourselves up, clear the dust, and carry on. Parenting is a marathon, not a sprint. So how do you find this video? If you have any questions, do comment below and I try my best to answer. As usual, I always have a quote to end off the video. So see you around next time.